Greetings, Rumpel family. There is a lot happening in construction and renovations on our campus, and this video is designed to help y'all to understand more about what's happening with the construction, as well as all of the great news, the great financial news that accompanies all of that. I am in what will be our new gathering space, and I'm joined in this space by John Calvin, who chairs our building committee, and he's going to share some updates with you with some questions prompted by me.
Hello, Rumpel. I'm John Calvin. I'm chairman of the building committee. I've been doing this for the past 2 to 3 years, and our committee has been working diligently to use your money wisely and also not to disrupt the church as much as we can.
Tell us what stage in the process we are in right now, John.
As most of you know, we completed Rumpel House with Terry Lentz Construction, who did a fabulous job. It's basically a new building. That was the first stage. The second stage was to move into the educational building, which some of you may remember was built in 1968 and remodeled in 2005. The 2005 remodel was done by Terry Lentz Construction, and he is doing the present work that we're doing now. He started out on Boyne Rock Cares, which was where the old nursery was located, on the ground underneath the choir room in the Keys Chapel. That has been basically all the partitions have been removed and all the new framing is done. The rough electric and the air conditioning HVAC system has been upgraded. He then moved up into the gathering spot, which is going to be the second floor of the educational building, which you see behind me. It's basically a large open space with, you can see the framing in the background, and that's going to be a nursery. So this will be a gathering area. The frescoes, the large one will basically go across this window here. We're going to use this opening here in order to get the fresco in, and the smaller one will go on the wall just to the right of the elevator, which is now partitioned off so we can have access to the sanctuary.
What comes next after Terry Lentz Construction finishes Boyne Rock Cares and this main floor of the education building?
After they finish those two areas, we'll move down into the first floor of the educational building, the existing fellowship hall. That will basically become a youth area and a children's area for gathering, and there isn't quite as much work down there as there is on the second floor in the Boyne Rock Cares, but there will be some partitions that will isolate those two areas, both rather large areas, and there will be a hallway separating them, and we'll also put in a new exit door into the J.D. Stevens Drive and a retaining wall, so it will look much more easier to get in. If some of you have tried to open those doors, you know how difficult they are.
Can you speak a little bit about the phasing of this project? I know we're getting lots of questions about why different phases have not begun yet.
When we started and hired ADW architects, who are basically doing the entire project, one of the things we discussed, well, the first thing we discussed is the sanctuary was to be left as is. And then how do we facilitate the planning that was involved without disrupting the operations of the church? It became relatively evident right away that if we went ahead and did the whole project at once, we basically would be shut down as a church. And so we came up with Rumpel House first, with the idea of moving the administrative offices from the second floor where they existed over to Rumpel House. When that was completed, then we moved into the second floor of the educational building and basically allow still access as much as we could to the sanctuary. Those of you that have come on Sundays know it changes from day to day, and Terry and his crew are really being diligent as far as keeping the area as clean as possible and also access as possible. Once the educational building first, second floor is done, we will then move into the big project, so to speak, which is the new fellowship hall. It's about 6,500 square feet. We purposely held off the architects on starting the planning on that project. They've basically done the conceptual, but this construction drawings will probably start in a month or so. And we're going to go through a contractor selection process probably this summer with a guaranteed upset price, so we'll have a good idea. Terry Lentz chose not to do that, so we'll be bringing an outside contractor. And we have discussed with ADW and also the town as to who some contractors could be recommended.
Tell us what you're most excited about with this whole campus master plan.
I've been a member of Rumpel since 2000, and what's most exciting to me is that we're able to develop this whole project, keep our wonderful sanctuary intact, but still develop areas that are much needed, like the new fellowship hall and the gathering areas and the nurseries and the children's areas and things like that. A lot of the campus, particularly Rumpel House, had deteriorated, and to see that turn into what it is today has just been, to me, phenomenal.
There are so many things about this campus master plan that I am excited about. It's really hard to pick one over another. I am very excited about this gathering space, a part of which I am standing in right now, because it's going to provide us wonderful space just outside of the sanctuary for so many different kinds of gatherings. And I'm really excited about the Fresco ministry that will also be in this place and the opportunity that we have for outreach through it. I'm also very excited about the new fellowship hall that is still just a conception and not under construction yet, because it will provide us space to be together as a church family, but our vision for it has always been that it will also create space where we can welcome in folks from the community.
You have just heard an awesome update from Kathy and John from that construction perspective, and now I get the chance to sit with Cully Tarleton, who was one of the co-chairs of the It Is Time campaign, so helped us raise the funds for this campaign and is also on the finance committee, so is stewarding that campaign forward as we still have those funds and we're figuring out how we distribute them moving forward. So tell us, Cully, where we are on the It Is Time campaign, how much we have had as pledges and how much has been fulfilled so far.
Okay, Sarah. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who made a pledge.
Yes.
Because that's what's making all of this work on the campus possible. After the consultants did their job, we along with them, set a campaign goal of $5.2 million, which we achieved and then exceeded up to 5.3, and we exceeded that, and we finished up with $5.4 million against a $5.2 million goal, and which is just incredible. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone who pledged and who participated, and especially to those who have paid their pledges, and many of them paid them early. And so far we have collected 98% of the pledged money, which is practically unheard of in capital campaigns to be that far along this early. So again, we're very grateful to those in the congregation who have done that, because it's making it possible for us to do all this work on the campus.
Yeah, I think it truly shows the generosity of the members of Rumpel and that they would give that. And we see that generosity in action around us right now, though, too, right? We are sitting in the Rumpel house that has already been renovated. We have beautiful furnishings and space for folks to meet and to hang out like this. So we're really grateful for that.
We are so blessed here at Rumpel, Sarah, that we have some very, very generous people in our congregation. And when I share this capital campaign news with some of my friends out there who don't attend Rumpel, they are amazed that this church raised that kind of money in a capital campaign. And so again, we're very grateful to all of you who contributed and brought us to the point where we are now. And we're doing great things here. Yeah.
So 98% of the pledges have been fulfilled and are in hand at Rumpel. What is the finance committee doing to be good stewards of those funds as they've come in?
I am a member of the finance committee, and under the leadership of Jim Claybo, the finance committee realized that we were sitting on all this money and that had been paid early into the campaign. So we have been investing in 3 and 6 month U.S. Treasury bills. And those Treasury bills are paying an average interest of 5.3%. And we project that by the time we get to the point where the funds that are currently invested are needed to pay hard campaign or hard construction costs, that we will have created approximately $300,000 just in interest. And that will go a long ways toward helping us finish the plans designed for the new building and the columbarium and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we asked John and Kathy to talk about was what they're most excited about with this project. So Cully, what are you most excited about as we move forward?
Well, so that's kind of like asking me which one of my children I love the most.
Can't answer.
I'm pleased, first of all, that we made a decision early on that our first project was going to be the renovation of the manse, because we needed to provide adequate living facilities for Kathy and her family.
Yeah.
And so that got done. And if you haven't visited the manse and seen the results of the construction, people ought to, because Terry and his crew just did a fabulous job. And here and now in the Rumpel House, this building has been totally renovated and restored. Those in the congregation who were here when Rumpel bought this facility will recall that we made a decision at that time not to do anything other than just some cosmetic work. So the electrical, the water, the heat, none of that work was done. And that has all now been completed, and we're now sitting in a restored facility that is a show place on Main Street for Boyd Rock, and a wonderful place to house our administrative staff. And now Terry and the crew are working on renovating the Boyd Rock Care Space, and we're very grateful to the Cannon Foundation and to the Cannon Family Trust for contributing most of the dollars necessary to do that work.
Yeah.
And the 20 plus years that we have been members of Rumpel, I don't think there's anything that we have done as a congregation more important than moving Boyd Rock Cares into our facility, expanding it and growing it, and it will continue to expand and grow as they get into the new renovated space. What we are doing at Boyd Rock Cares is biblical. Jesus said, "I was hungry and you fed me," and we're feeding people who need our help and assistance, and I'm so pleased about that. And then we'll be moving up into the old education building, and where the Frescos will be relocated. And if you aren't excited about the Frescos, you ought to be, because they are fabulous and will be a great addition to our ministry here at Rumpel. The relocation of the nursery upstairs, the new education building that will be built, the columbarium. And we've been talking about a columbarium here at Rumpel for, I don't know, the last 15 or 20 years. It's finally going to become a reality, and as a part of all of this work. So I'm excited about all of it. And it's been, the building committee is doing a great job of staging construction. Terry and his crew have done wonderful work and continue to do wonderful work. So work is taking place. I'm very pleased about all that.
Absolutely. You highlighted, I think, the thing I'm most excited about, which is I think every group and ministry in the church has its own space in our new renovation. So like the office has this space to use. The youth and children are going to have their own dedicated spaces, a dedicated space for the nursery that is separate and new. Boyd Rock Cares is going to have their own space where they've been sharing in a lot of ways. The Fresco has that space. You know, there's just going to be so much dedicated space for our church members. And as somebody who has to figure out who is in what space and negotiate that every day, that's really exciting to me. So that's going to be fun.
speaking of the Frescos, Ben Long was in town this week and was at our house, and we recorded a bit of an intro with him to a video that is being produced and will be shown to people who come to view the Frescos. I can't tell you how excited Ben is that these Frescos were sort of rediscovered and now are being relocated to Rumpel. He is pleased beyond expression almost, and because he was so happy when he did the Frescos and the center that he did them for, and now that they've been removed and storage in Charlotte and will be mounted here at Rumpel and will be part of an expanded ministry that we will launch, that we're calling the Fresco Ministry. So again, Ben is thrilled that his Frescos will now be in Floyd Rock.
That's good to hear. Well, thank you, Cully, for helping us contextualize all of what we've done in the financial realm and beyond that. I mean, there's so much that we've talked about today. Thank all of you all for your generous gifts and donations. Thank you for your patience as we've been working through all of the changes around here and shuffling people around. This is truly for the work of the kingdom of God, and we're really proud of that and excited about it. If you have more questions that come up from this video, I hope it's answered a lot of your questions, but if you have more, feel free to reach out to me or to reach out to Kathy, or even Cully. I think he'll take some questions too, and John. We'd love to answer more questions and to help you feel informed about the project as it's going.